everybody, it's Chris Eads, and on the line is Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast for you. I skipped last week because I didn't really have anything to talk about because I wasn't really playing anything anymore. I kind of put everything on pause, so... but I did go to the movies, and I saw Men, the new horror movie, which being A24, it's all elevated with, like, you know, symbolism and whatever. It was okay. The performances are great. There are some very creepy, unsettling scenes. And then it just goes full tilt gonzo at the end. It's like, what is happening? But, and it also reminds me that, like, practical effects are often much more effective than CGI effects because they just look more real, honestly, to me, than CGI stuff. Because the CGI just doesn't have any weight or it doesn't feel solid and real. But anyway, the symbolism is a little bit on the nose in a lot of places, so it's very, you know, it's not subtle. But then I found it was fine, it was good, but then the ending is like really abrupt, and I'm not really sure what he's trying to say with it, like, because it's so abrupt that I'm like, wait, it's almost like what happened, because it's not clear what happened and to her, and like what if she made a decision, and like, so it's like the ending just sort of fell completely flat for me, and that sort of tainted the whole thing, because if it's doesn't have a satisfying conclusion, then you're sort of left going, okay, but then what? So that was unsatisfying to me. Whatever. And then this weekend, I went to see Downton Abbey: The New Age, which it was lovely. I mean, it's Downton Abbey, like, you know what you're getting. It's Julian Fellows, there's like 800 bajillion characters running around, being clever and witty and having little dramas that don't really amount to much. This very much felt like just an ending, like just positioning everybody to have like a satisfying conclusion to all of their storylines, because anyone who didn't have a satisfying conclusion from the first movie, they kind of get one here. The pacing is a little off. It's very long, and it feels long because the pacing isn't great, because it splits everybody up. Like, half the cast stays at Downton, and then the other half go off to the French Riviera. And the French Riviera is gorgeous, but that storyline never really gets juicy enough for me. It was like, there are developments there, but they're not played as juicily as they could have been. It's all very polite, you know, so that's what they do. But everybody eventually comes back together in the end, and you have your ending and whatever, and it's fine. I probably would have, like, sliced a few scenes here and there just to trim the fat and pick up the pace a little, because it does feel a bit long. But if you're a fan, I feel like this is an ending. I don't think he'll make any more of these, because this feels like the end, but you definitely watch it, because it's just lovely to check in with these characters again and see how they're doing, and they're all just charming and fun and whatever. It's lovely. Like a warm sweater. It's very predictable, but comforting. You know what I mean? As for games, I did play a little bit of No Man's Sky, but that's going to stop now. I did stop, but not because of this, but Hello Games just released the Leviathan update, which adds these giant space whale creatures, which are super cool, but it also adds this mission that basically turns it into a roguelite, which I am not interested in any way, shape, or form. It is one of my least liked game genres. I would almost rather play a platformer or a sports game instead of a roguelite, because constantly dying over and over and over and over again is not appealing to me. I know that it is not a bug, it is a feature, but you're meant to die and then learn from that and, you know, get more power or whatever. I don't care. That kind of stop and start shit, it's just not appealing to me. I've tried it, didn't like it. Not my bag, baby. So I will not be playing the Leviathan update at all. But I do appreciate that they are adding in, with all these updates, they have made this game, like, this game is ridiculous now. Like, you can play No Man's Sky however you want. You want space combat? Space combat. Land combat? Fine. Exploration? Building? Constructing? Sim things? Like, it's however you want to play it, that's how you can play it. It's very cool and very impressive that they were able to pull this off. But I'm not playing it right now, not because of the update, but because I did go back to Shenmue 2. I'd kind of gone off it because I wasn't enjoying it, and I tried to figure out why it wasn't as appealing to me as the first one, because I loved the first Shenmue, but the second one, it's not working for me. And I'm wondering if that's why, because I can't remember when I played it on my Dreamcast back in the day. I didn't finish it. I don't remember how far I even got into it. And I'm wondering if maybe this was as far as I got into it, and I said, I don't like this game, it's not as good as the first one, F it. And then I played something else. I don't know. But, it's just very frustrating. I mentioned before in a previous episode how they steal all your money away, and you basically have to, like, work part-time jobs or do gambling and whatever to try to earn money so you can pay rent at this hotel so that you can have a place to stay. And it's, like, super frustrating, and it's hard to do the investigation and adventure because you're doing all this, like, busy work to live and pay your rent. And I'm just like, I play games to escape and have an adventure that I can't have myself, so having to, like, work a job to pay rent, that's not fun. That's reality. So I feel like they erred a little too far on the side of reality for that bit there. So that wasn't appealing. Plus, this game world is so much bigger, and there's all these neighborhoods, and you buy these maps for the neighborhoods, and with the money that you don't really have to be wasting, but the maps are only really helpful to just kind of navigate the streets and say, okay, if I go left here and right here, there's an exit, and I don't want to go left because it's a dead end, you know, whatever. Because the maps are just pictures, they don't have words, it doesn't tell you where anything is, it doesn't tell you which direction to go in to go to a different neighborhood, and it's super frustrating because, like, they'll be like, oh, you should go to this store in the South Carmaine Quarter, and it's like, okay, but how do I get to the South Carmaine Quarter? And you have to, like, navigate your way through the map. You know, like, you look at the little map and you're like, okay, if I go over here, there's an exit to the next neighborhood. But then you have to, in-game, look at the signs to see, like, oh, this is taking me to the Golden Quarter. And it's like, well, do I go to the Golden Quarter and hope to find an exit for the South Carmaine Quarter, or do I look around this neighborhood for a different sign that says South Carmaine Quarter? You know, like, you can't rely on the maps. They're useless, and there's no overarching map of which neighborhood's where. So you can tell I need to navigate through these two neighborhoods to get to that one. You kind of have to just sort of remember in-game, like, this building is by this exit to this neighborhood, and this neighborhood connects to this neighborhood, and this neighborhood and I can't do that because I have a terrible sense of direction and a terrible memory. Not a good combination. So it's not happening. So the navigation of the game world was annoying and frustrating for me. But I started playing it again, and I've now reached a point, thankfully, in the story where I now have a new place to stay where I don't have to pay rent, so that's helpful, which is good because they're keeping me busy and I can't go do that job now. But now I don't have to go all the way back there. And also, it seems to be, like, just taking me from place to place. Like, they're like, oh, go here, oh, go there, but it'll just cut to me there, and I don't have to, like, navigate my way there, which is, like, very helpful. So we'll see if I can keep this progressing. I don't know how long this is going to last, but fingers crossed it gets easier from here and more fun. Because I do want to finish it, because there is another game coming out that I would actually like to play. And it's another old one. I found out that I just saw a trailer, they are releasing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 on the Nintendo Switch. They previously released the first Knights of the Old Republic on the Switch, but I didn't get that because I played that one. I loved it, but I never played the sequel, which is weird because I love the first one, so I'm not sure why I didn't play the sequel. Maybe it didn't get great reviews at the time or something. I don't know. Could have also just fallen through the cracks if I was playing something else at the time, and then I was like, well, I'll play that after, but then I just never got around to it. I don't know. But it's funny because my first thought was, oh, I should see if I could get it cheaper on PlayStation Network or something because it's so old. But it's not on PlayStation Network because it's never been on the PlayStation. It's an Xbox and PC games. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I thought, well, maybe I could check the Microsoft store and see if it's super cheap there. But then I saw in the eShop, it's only $15. So I'm like, oh, that's fine. Because it's not a remaster, it's just a port. So I'm like, that's fine. So I can pay $15. They also have a bundle for $30 of the first one and the second one at $15 a piece. But I don't really want to play the first one again before I play the second one, because they're not really connected, so I'm like, it's fine, I can just play the second one, I don't need to replay the first one. Plus, I've also read that they are remaking the first Knights of the Old Republic for PS5, so it is coming to a Sony platform, but they're doing like a whole top-down remake, remaster kind of thing, so I don't know when that's coming out. Hopefully maybe next year when I can actually buy a PS5 to play it on. But that's when I'll play the first one again, is when it's been remastered. Then it sort of justifies playing it again. But here, I'm just going to play it on the Switch, because it's only $15, so I'm like, that's fine. Normally I'd be able to justify it by saying, oh, well, I'll buy it on the Switch because it's portable. But I don't really play my Switch portably anymore because I don't commute anymore, so it's like, The only problem that I have is that the game comes out on June 8th, but at the end of the trailer it says Restored Content DLC coming soon. And what this is I looked this up, and they rushed the sequel out so fast that there was a bunch of stuff in the game that they just didn't have time to polish and finish, so they had to just cut it entirely so they could get the game out in a finished state that everyone could play. So modders went in and unlocked all that stuff on PC so that people could play those planets and adventures and missions that got cut from the game. So I'm sort of tempted to wait until the DLC has been released so that I can play the entire whole thing. And what I've been reading, there's like mixed opinions. Some people are like, no, it fucks with the pacing of the game, and some of the missions are unbalanced and difficult and whatever, so play the regular game, then play it again with the DLC to see what the extra content is. And I'm like, fine, except for the fact that if I play the game, I'm not going to go back and immediately replay the game with the DLC. I'll probably never see that DLC. So I kind of want to wait and play it with the DLC, especially since this isn't just like modders unlocking it. This is going to be like, the developer will have polished it, I'm assuming, to make it good. So then it's just extra content for the game. So I'm sort of like, I feel like I want to wait until the DLC is released, then buy the game. But I have not made that decision yet. We shall wait and see. Maybe I'll do a little more research. Maybe some of you have opinions on what I should do. If I should wait, if I should just play it, if I should ignore the DLC content, whatever. I don't know. But see, this is what happens when I take a week off. The following episode is way too long. So I'm going to shut up now and let you get back to your lives. See you next time. Bye!